Welcome, everyone, to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
We are here to break down the events of Chapter 1158, which I can only title The Red-Haired Twins.
And we have to start at the end. I know we go in order, we always go in order, but we can't, not this time. Shanks has an identical twin brother.
Named Shamrock.
A twin. For over 25 years, we've been asking, who is Shanks? Where did he come from? What's his motivation? And the answer, the Oda-level answer, is there are two of him. It changes everything we thought we knew.
The implications ripple backwards through the entire story. Every single action he's ever taken is now under a different light.
For sure, it's like finding out your whole life that the sun was just one half of a binary star system. You have to reevaluate everything. If you want to be here every single week as we try to piece together what this means for the final saga, maybe consider joining our crew and inheriting the will of that subscribe button. It's calling to you. Okay, let's rewind, because before Oda dropped that mountain-sized bombshell, he gave us an entire chapter of legends living their lives.
We begin on the sea with the Roger Pirates.
The crew is hyped because they just found out Shakky has opened up her bar on Hachinosu, Pirate Island. This is the most dangerous place in the New World, and the Roger Pirates are treating it like a trip to the local pub. But Roger is just stewing. He's in the foulest mood imaginable. You can almost see the storm clouds gathering over his head.
Gabon even asks Rayleigh what's gone, and Rayleigh tries to play it cool, saying something like, "The captain's just thinking about the next island." But then the chapter gives us a flashback. We see what happened.
And it's incredible. Oda gives us a mini flashback within the main flashback. After a fight with the Kuja pirates, Shakky slipped Rayleigh a note. Just a simple note.
It read, "Come and get me." A classic direct invitation.
Roger sees that and immediately and correctly identifies it as a love letter. He is furious, just incandescent with rage. But the target of his anger is so telling. It's not at Shakky for choosing Rayleigh, it's at Rayleigh for hiding it from him. He's yelling about crewmates being open with each other, about secrets. But what he's really saying is, how could you not tell me the woman I like is into you?
Rayleigh's logic is, well, it's very Rayleigh. It's the same energy he has as an old man on Sabaody. He tells Roger he has no interest in settling down, so he didn't want to lead her on or get her hopes up. He was trying to be noble in his own detached way.
Bro, that is a super violation of the wingman code. Your captain, your sworn brother, the future king of the pirates, is clearly smitten with this woman, and you're just pocketing her advances because you're too cool to settle down? Cold-blooded. It's like, I get it, you're the Dark King, you're mysterious, but your best friend is right there, head over heels. You have to pass the info along. That's rule number 1.
But it's also practical. Look at their lives. They're the Roger Pirates. They don't stay in one place for more than a week. They're actively hunted by the entire world. From Rayleigh's perspective, he's probably thinking he can't give her the life she deserves. He's seen what happens to people associated with them. He's protecting her in a way.
But Roger doesn't care about practical. He's the man who's going to be king of the pirates. He lives and breathes on pure will and emotion. He hears she wants one of his crew, and his response is pure conqueror spirit. He declares he's not giving up on her, and sets a course to Hachinosu to go get her himself. It's not even a question for him. He wants something, he goes for it. Full steam ahead. It's the same attitude that got him to Laugh Tale.
It's this beautiful, messy human moment. This legendary crew, these figures who have been spoken of in hushed, reverent tones for decades, are tangled up in a love triangle. It's not about finding the One Piece or fighting the world government. It's about who gets the girl.
It just makes them feel so real. This isn't some mythic figure from a history book. This is a guy who's madly in love and fiercely, hilariously jealous of his own right-hand man. I love it. It's like finding out that Hercules and Achilles got into a fist fight over a girl at a party. It grounds them in a way nothing else could.
From there, the tone shifts dramatically. We cut to the Holy Land of Mary Jose, and the color palette of the chapter almost seems to drain away.
Yeah, and it gets dark fast. We see a younger Garling Figarland in his prime as a holy knight, reporting to the 5 elders. They look almost exactly the same, which is a whole other can of worms we need to open later.
He tells them he visited God Valley on a separate assignment. The official story he gives is that he tried to get the island to join the world government, but their king refused. He paints them as defiant and proud, a nail that needs to be hammered down.
But that wasn't the real reason he was there. That was just the cover story for the elders. He then says, with this chilling, smug look on his face, that he made a discovery on the island, something that he believes will please the Great One.
He means Imu. He's bypassing the Gorosei in a way, reporting directly to the true sovereign. This seems to confirm the Holy Knights answer only to Imu, and Garling is their commander.
And because of this discovery and the island's vast natural resources, he personally recommends God Valley as the site for the next native hunting competition. Let's just sit with that for a second. The native hunting competition. He's not even trying to hide it.
Think about what this means. He's proposing a literal genocide as a sporting event for the celestial dragons, all under the pretext of acquiring something for their secret king. It's not a war. It's not a political takeover. It's a party, a festival of slaughter.
The casual cruelty is just off the charts. It's not about conquest or justice or bringing order to the world. It's just pest control so they can take what they want. It's like deciding you want to have a picnic in a park, so first you hire an exterminator to gas the entire area to get rid of the squirrels and birds. The people of God Valley are nothing more than vermin to him.
And what did he find? It has to be central to the entire story. I've always wondered if God Valley was an ancient kingdom aligned with the Great Kingdom during the Void Century, perhaps a nation of the D clan.
Could it be a person? The way he says he found something there feels very personal. It doesn't sound like he found a rock or a tree. It sounds like he found a person or a family with a specific bloodline.
It's highly possible. He could have found a child with a unique lineage, perhaps someone capable of wielding an ancient weapon or possessing a rare ability. Or, as we now know, he could have found a pregnant woman of a lineage he was interested in. It could also have been an artifact, like a poneglyph that details a truth Imu wants buried, or even information about Uranus.
Whatever it is, it was valuable enough to Imu to wipe an entire, defiant nation off the map, just erase them from history. The sheer scale of that decision is chilling, and Garling recommended it with a smile.
And this completely reframes the God Valley incident. The prevailing thought was that it was a clash of titans, Roger and Garp versus the Rocks pirates. But that was just the fight that happened during the real event. The real event was a planned extermination by the world government. The pirates were just the chaotic element that crashed the party.
From there, we're back to Hachinosu, right in the heart of Shakky's ripoff par. And the Rocks crew is there, the whole terrifying family.
And the atmosphere is fascinating. Oda is a master of these calm before the storm moments. Everyone's enjoying Shakky's abysmal service, which is such a perfect detail. It implies she's a terrible bartender, but so charismatic that everyone loves it anyway. And in this moment of peace, she notices something about her old flame, Rocks.
Yeah, he's got this happy, fulfilled, almost dopey look on his face, but it's not aimed at her anymore. The way it's drawn, he's looking past her, into the distance, lost in thought. And Shacky, being perceptive, knows that look. It's the look of a man who's found something new.
Linlin, a younger but still formidable big mom, immediately starts teasing him. She's loud and boisterous, saying he's found a woman he genuinely loves. It's strange to see someone talking to Rocks like that, but it shows the dynamic. They weren't just underlings, they were rivals forced onto the same crew.
And he's trying to hide it. The great Rocks D. Zebek, this monster of a man who wants to be king of the world, is getting all shy and flustered because he's in love. He's telling Linlin to shut up, blushing a little. It's another one of those humanizing moments. Oda is showing us the man before the monster, the person before the historical incident.
Ms. Buchan then adds another layer to it. She's drawn as being much more conventionally attractive back then, and she's clearly sharp. She sees his grin and suspects he's not just in love, he's expecting to become a father. She says something like, "That's not just the look of love, that's the look of a man building a dynasty."
This has to be Weevil's origin story, right? Come on, the timing, Buchan's involvement, her later obsession with Whitebeard's treasure as a way to provide for her son. It all lines up. What if she was in love with Rox, knew he was about to have a child with someone else, and concocted this whole story about Weevil being Whitebeard's son to protect him or to steal an inheritance? The so-called son of Whitebeard might have actually been the son of Rox.
It would make a certain kind of sense. It would explain Weevil's monstrous strength and his simple-minded nature, perhaps a side effect of whatever cloning or genetic modification she might have performed later. But more than that, this scene shows us Rox at his absolute peak. He commands the strongest crew ever assembled. He's found love. He's about to be a father. In his mind, he believes he's on the verge of taking over the world.
He has everything, which means he has everything to lose at God Valley. Oda is setting up the tragedy perfectly. He's making us almost like Rox just for a second before the inevitable fall.
Just then, the doors to the bar are thrown open with a massive crash.
And in walk the Roger pirates. We learn from a background character grumbling that they just ran through the entire line of pirates waiting outside just to get a spot. That is such a Roger move. No waiting, just fighting. He wanted a drink, so he carved a path to the bar.
Rox is immediately on his feet, his good mood completely gone. He's furious. He screams that Hashinosu is his island, that Roger is trespassing. The tension in the room goes from 0 to 100 instantly. You can almost feel the Conqueror's haki crackling in the air.
And Roger, with that classic, infuriating grin, just holds up a finger and reminds him of the one rule: no one is allowed to fight in Shakky's bar. It's like a sacred truce on the most lawless place on Earth. The one spot of peace is run by the future wife of the Pirate King's first mate. The irony is superb. He uses Rock's own respect for Shakky against him.
We also get a little reunion in the chaos that adds so much context. A younger Gloriosa, who we know as Elder Neon from Amazon Lily, is there.
And she just glomps Roger, wrapping her arms around him, begging him to let her join his crew. She is completely, shamelessly throwing herself at him.
And Roger's rejection is brutal. He just pries her off him and says, "I'm not interested in women who throw themselves at someone." It's a cold line.
But then he adds the killer line. He says, with the exception of Shakky. He says it right in front of the whole bar, in front of Rox, Linlin, and everyone. He just shot down the former Empress of Amazon Lily and declared his unwavering affection for Shakky in the same breath. The absolute confidence on this man. He's there to win her for his first mate, but he's also making it clear he respects her above all others.
It's this declaration, this dedication, that makes Shakky's next move so impactful. She ignores the chaos, ignores Rox fuming, and walks right up to Roger. She asks him, with this hopeful look in her eyes, "Where's Rayleigh?"
And when Roger tells her he stayed behind on the ship, probably because he's too cool and moody to deal with this, her face just falls. All the strength, all the swagger of the woman running a bar on Pirate Island just drains away. And then she faints, collapses right there in the bar.
It's lovesickness, the exact same ailment that afflicted Hancock over Luffy, the one Gloriosa herself suffered from.
Exactly. This confirms it. It wasn't some one-sided crush from Roger on her behalf. Shakky was just as deeply in love with Rayleigh. This whole situation is just a beautiful, chaotic mess of feelings between legends. He thought he was protecting her by staying away, but his absence was literally killing her.
It paints a much more complex picture of their youth than we ever could have imagined. These weren't just epic figures of history marching towards their destiny. They were young people with complicated, messy hearts, making mistakes and loving fiercely.
Oda, you magnificent bastard. Then we get another massive scene, a flashback within a flashback within a flashback, this time on Elbath. It's showing what happened between Rox and the Giants.
It seems Prince Harold, who we know as Loki's father, ended up accepting the 5 elders' terms to have Elbaf join the world government. We see the meeting, the giants looking solemn, Harold signing the pact.
So, when Rox shows up again, hoping to recruit his old friend in the giant army, it's not a friendly meeting. It's a confrontation. It's a fight.
And this is a true clash of ideologies. Rox is incandescent with rage. He can't believe Harold, a proud giant warrior, would bend the knee to the celestial dragons. He sees it as the ultimate betrayal of everything the giants stand for.
He's screaming that the world government is just using Elbath for its muscle, that they see the giants as nothing more than weapons to be deployed. And he's right. We know that's exactly how the world government operates. He's calling them slaves, tools of the oppressors. For a man who values freedom and power above all else, this is the worst possible sin.
But Harold's counter-argument is tragic because you can understand it. It's not the argument of a coward. He acknowledges that the world nobles are terrible people. He doesn't defend them.
But he sees them as a necessary evil, a power strong enough to help him lead Elbath away from its violent, isolated past and into the modern world. He talks about needing their trade routes, their technology, their political protection to stop the endless cycles of war that have defined giant history. He's willing to make a deal with devils for the sake of his people's future.
It's a gamble, a terrible, risky gamble. He's sacrificing pride for the promise of progress. And Rox, the ultimate believer in individual freedom and personal strength, cannot accept it. For him, a gilded cage is still a cage.
He declares their friendship over. He tells Harold he's a fool. Harold calls Rox a villain who is destined to fail because his ambition is purely selfish. They fight, and the art here is amazing, this huge clash that splits the sky. It ends in a draw, but the bond between them is shattered forever.
This moment is so important. It explains the deep political division within Elbath that we've heard hints about. It's why some giants, like Dory and Brogy, represent that old, proud freedom, living by their own code. And it's why Hyrudin and the new generation of giant pirates left, seeking their own path. They were all reacting to this fundamental choice Harold made.
And Loki is caught right in the middle of it. He saw his father's choice and where it led. He's trying to honor his father's dream of progress without making the same mistakes, which is probably why he's so interested in an alliance with the Straw Hats instead of the world government. It adds so much depth to his character and the entire Elbath arc to come.
The friendship between Rox and Harold is over, and the narration is chilling, telling us they wouldn't meet again until the fateful incident.
God Valley. It's all leading to God Valley. Harold, as part of the world government's forces, must have been there. He had to fight his old friend. Man, Oda is just weaving everything together.
And then, after all that incredible setup, we get the final scene, the one that redefines everything.
God Valley, 39 years before the present day. We are on the island just before the hunt begins.
The people of the island, who we now know are doomed, are gathered around a woman who has just given birth. They comment on her beautiful red hair, a detail that immediately makes every reader sit up straight.
And she's not holding one baby, she's holding two. Identical twins. Two tiny red-haired babies.
The islanders are kind, offering to help raise them, noting that their father is absent. The woman, looking weak but happy, introduces them.
She looks down at her sons and names them Shanks and Shamrock.
Shanks has a twin, an identical twin brother.
Super. This is it. This is the kind of reveal that Oda is the master of. Something that seems to come out of nowhere, but immediately makes a dozen other mysteries click into place. It's not just a twist. It's a key that unlocks half the story.
Okay, let's take a breath and think about what this means for the timeline. We've seen moments where Shanks's location was questionable, almost impossible even for an emperor.
The biggest one, him meeting with the 5 elders at Merigeos in the heart of enemy territory, and then almost immediately showing up at Marienford to end the war. I think most of us just chalked it up to him being an emperor, that he's just that fast and has that much influence. We made excuses for it because he's Shanks.
But what if it wasn't one person? What if one twin, Shamrock, is a holy knight, raised within the world government, possibly as Garling's right hand?
The something Garling found at God Valley.
What if it wasn't an artifact? What if he found a child, one of the twins, and took him back to Mary Geos to be raised in the system?
And the other, Shanks, was found by Roger in that treasure chest during the chaos of the incident and raised as a free pirate.
It's the ultimate nature versus nurture experiment played out on a global scale. One twin, possibly a Figarland, raised as a celestial dragon, a tool of Emu, and the other, his brother, raised by the Pirate King, a symbol of freedom. It makes so much sense, my brain is buzzing.
It would explain why the Gorosei, who despise pirates, would grant an audience to a pirate. They weren't meeting with Shanks the Emperor. They were meeting with Shamrock, the Holy Knight, who happens to look exactly like him. He could move through Mary Geos with impunity.
And it explains Shanks' whole motivation of maintaining the balance. It always seems so weird. Why would a pirate, a Yonko, care so much about keeping the status quo? He's not playing all sides. They are. Two brothers working from opposite ends of the world, trying to steer history from the shadows. Maybe their goal is to create a world different from both Emu's and the pirate's vision, a third option.
The identity of the mother is also critical. A red-haired woman on God Valley. Was she royalty from the kingdom that once stood there? A member of the D clan? Her lineage must be incredibly important for Garling to have been there in the first place.
And the absent father. It almost has to be Garling, doesn't it? The timing, the red hair, the Figarland name being teased, it fits perfectly. But what if he's the father, but he only ever knew about one of his sons? He found and rescued Shamrock, never knowing that in the confusion, Gold D. Roger picked up the other. He thinks his legacy is secure with the world government, while his other son became his ideological arch-enemy.
It reframes everything. Shanks isn't just a mysterious, powerful emperor who inherited Roger's will. He's one half of a secret that lies at the very heart of the conflict between the pirates and the world government. His entire life is a mirror of what could have been, and Shamrock's is the same. They are two sides of the same coin, minted at God Valley.
I can't get over it. A whole new character who looks identical to one of the most important figures in the series. The potential for dramatic reveals, for mistaken identity, for a final tragic confrontation between brothers. The final saga just got 1,000 times more complicated and 1,000 times more exciting. What a chapter.
Truly one for the history books, an absolute masterclass in long-form storytelling.
All right, before we get into what's next, if this breakdown helped you connect some of the dots on this absolutely massive chapter, maybe drop a comment and let us know your twin theory. What's Shamrock's deal? Is he good? Is he evil? It helps us know we're on the right track with these discussions.
Okay, predictions for chapter 1159. I'll start. My first prediction is that we will see the beginning of the God Valley incident. Garling has made his recommendation to the elders. I think the next chapter will open with the Celestial Dragons and the Holy Knights arriving on the island in their finery, ready to begin their hunt, treating it like a gala. We will see the horror from the perspective of the islanders.
Ooh, I like that. Kicking it into high gear. My first prediction is that we're going to see Shamrock in the present day. I think we'll cut back from the flashback to Egghead, or maybe Mary Jawaz where the Gorosei are reeling, and one of the shadowy figures of the Holy Knights will step forward to confront someone. Maybe Sabo or Dragon, and his face will be revealed. It'll be Shanks' face, but with cold, dead eyes. The ultimate oh crap moment.
A mirror image reveal. That would be powerful. My second prediction is that we will learn the identity of the woman Rox fell in love with and who the mother of his child is. I think it will be a character we either know or have heard of, and it will tie into another existing plotline, possibly explaining the origins of another major character besides Weevil. Perhaps someone from the D clan, which would make Weevil a D as well.
Okay, my final prediction, building on what we talked about. We're going to get confirmation that Garling Figarland is the father of the twins.
It might be a line in the flashback or maybe him talking to Shamrock in the present, but the big twist will be that he only knows about Shamrock. He thinks he has one heir serving Emu. He has no idea his other son was found by his greatest enemy, Goldie Roger, and grew up to become an emperor of the sea, carrying Roger's own straw hat. The dramatic irony would be off the charts.
A family reunion destined for the final battlefield. A classic Oda move.
That's our show. This was a big one, folks. Go reread some old chapters with this new twin theory in mind. It changes everything.
We'll see you next week.